Hey there, bosses. Welcome to another edition of Marcy K. MomBOSS, where I help you live your best BYO boss life. And today I am feeling like a true boss, y'all, because I was invited to be on a podcast called Roadmap to Success. So today I'm actually showing you part 1 of 2 of that podcast. To be a guest on the amazing podcast called Roadmap to Success by my dear friend. Her name is Shauna Klein. She is the bosses of all bosses, right? She asked me 4 questions on part 1 of 2 episodes. What my background is and kind of how I got into entrepreneurship, how I actually got involved in my business and what attracted me. Number 3 actually got a little deep, where I shared some personal information I really don't share with many people. And 4 is one of my favorite things to talk about, is what is the biggest business practice that has exploded my company and my business and my life. Ready? Let's go.
Hey guys, and welcome to our podcast. I wanted to introduce, I have a good friend of mine with us today. This is my friend and guest, Marcy. She is the founder and chief boss at BYO Boss Life, a monthly subscription and online community circled around her custom planner and her follow-up system that she's created exclusively for female entrepreneurs. So excited, and helping them live their best life. She's a wife and a mom to 7. Yes, I said 7. And she's a communications graduate from Sacramento State, and she enjoys working part-time, helping as a success coach to her local college, getting to mentor fellow small business owners, as well as getting to market her holistic anti-aging product company that she works for. She lives in the Pacific Northwest with her hubby and her 7 kiddos, and we are so excited to have you here, Marcy. Welcome.
I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Shauna. This is going to be a blast.
It is, and we're so super pumped that you're here. So we're going to jump right in. And as we've said, this is going to be Roadmap to Success for entrepreneurs. And we're going to dig right into some questions and get some of this stuff unleashed. So, Marcy, I just wanted you to start out telling us about your background and how you got started in this thing called being an entrepreneur.
Right? I know. Yes, your bio was amazing. So thank you for all of that. And
maybe later.
I know, I will. I owe you. But really, I was one of those who never thought I would do one of those things, right? Like
Yes.
It just was never in my plan. I graduated as a communications major. I did some work before I decided to have a family. And that was something I just always wanted. I mean, nobody has 7 kids to not, love kids, right? Although we only tried for 6 and we got twins at the end. That's a whole nother story.
What can you do at that point, right?
Who would have known? I know. It's always a party at my house. I'll tell you that. So kind of a long story short is my twins were, actually, they were still in my belly, number 6 and 7 kids, when my husband got hurt as a volunteer firefighter. And when you get hurt as a volunteer firefighter, you get volunteer pay, which is 0.
Right.
You get workman's comp insurance, which if anybody has ever had to deal with that, it is awful. I mean, it is awful, awful stuff. So fast forward about 2 years when they were, just about a year old, my husband was in line for a second hip surgery, and we were just in a really bad place. I mean, when you go from getting hurt and any kind of savings that we had were very quickly dwindling. And I found myself in this place of, what am I going to do? Like, how do I leave my 7 kids? I think my oldest was in 6th grade, 1-year-old twins with my husband who's getting ready for a second hip surgery. Like, how do I now go back to any type of a corporate setting? And I tell you, Shauna, I was just desperate. Again, I never thought I'd do one of those. And I really just still didn't want to, but I found myself honestly one day just on my knees, in my floor, in my bedroom, just bawling and crying and yelling at God, going, why do you give me this many kids? And then I got to go get a job. Like, do I need to go, work a night shift somewhere so I can be home with them during the day? Like, how is this going to work? Please help me find another way. And kind of fast forward, I started looking at direct selling companies. I liked that model. I liked the idea of being able to purchase a franchise, essentially, this e-commerce that I can work from home
Right.
and be able to support my family, or at least start to, right?
Right.
But,
When you have nothing, there's not a big place to go, down from, right?
no, and it's like, and I didn't want to go do a 9 to 5, and really I couldn't. Like, all my money would have went to childcare because my husband couldn't have even taken care of them. I mean,
Right.
the whole situation was just dire, really. So, I kind of had this list to God though, of, okay, I don't want to sell things. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I thought, okay, he'll help me find something that's not direct selling. Yet that's exactly what I found. And I found a company that I loved. Fast forward about 6 months from the time I joined to the time I got a really big bonus of about $1,800 that month. I also had my birthday, and I also saved my home from foreclosure, all from this little side gig business that I started from home. So that's really what launched me into the entrepreneur field.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like, we come to these crossroads, and I know that there's probably a ton of people listening right now that are like in the same crossroad. Like, this is like a perfect time to be talking, because there are so many people that are out of work and they're looking to this, what next? Where do I go from here? Like, we're at rock bottom, I mean, I'm going to have to rely on someone else's kindness. And that's a lot of times when entrepreneurship is really birthed, because you get to this place where you're like, I'm working so hard for someone else, and it's not, you're like the 9 to 5, you were only going to be able to make so much money. You were only going to be capped off at a certain amount. And so many people get frustrated because they have this work ethic and this drive to be able to want to do more, but they just don't know where to start. And so I find so many people at this place when we talk, they're experiencing this, what now? What do I do now? And so that's awesome that you got to experience that place of being able to help bring your family up to a new place.
Yeah. And just what you said, a lot of times it's those, when we get thrown into that spot of desperation, that we find that we can do much more than we thought we were capable of. And that's really where I found myself, and why I think I just kind of jumped into it with both feet, because I really had no other options. I really didn't. And I mean, right now with everything that's going on, there's so many Google searches in different states where the top Google search is, how do I work from home?
Yeah.
What's a work from home job? And so, it's definitely a way of life for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's going to cause a shift as well into people looking, now that they've gotten to this cadence where they've been at home and they've been able to be more involved in their family, right? So when you are outside of the home, you're very disengaged. And because of this whole thing, we've become very engaged with our spouses and our families and our kiddos. We're helping them with their homework. So we're very much engaged. And I think there's going to be some kind of vacuum when people go back into the workforce, and they're going to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel as great as I thought it would feel just going back. So,
yeah.
So tell us how you got involved in your business. And what led you to make some of the changes to start moving over from, kind of that mindset of being an employee to running your own business, and what was attractive in the businesses that you run now to help you want to move that forward?
Well, what kind of attracted me, again, first thing was just kind of desperation, right? But then as I looked at the direct selling model, I was very much attracted to whatever amount of work I put in is going to come back to me in return. Now, that might be on this particular day, I can only put in 15, 30 minutes, an hour. But then on this particular day, I might be able to crush out several hours worth of work, and it will compound and help me build my business. And so I liked the freedom of that. I liked the time freedom of that. Again, with having all these kids and a hurt husband and 1-year-old twins. And let me tell you, that is a job in itself.
I
I
bet.
was, oh my gosh, it's just, oh goodness, we could talk forever about that. But I loved the idea that I could work my business on my own schedule. And that might even be at 10 o'clock in bed in my pajamas, sending out messages on social media or reaching out to people or doing follow-ups. I could do that in between the cracks of my life.
Right.
And that's what really pulled my heartstrings, because I didn't want to have to choose between, again, a 9-to-5 or 2 9-to-5s, because I had to, keep my house going, or be that mom that I really wanted to be and still be a present parent while I built a business that really was on my own terms. And that to me was something I didn't want to give up once I got a taste of that, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there have been a lot of moments in my life that I've gotten and pulled through a lot of tasks in the car rider line. There have been a lot of times where, you find those spots. We all say we don't have enough time. I mean, you have 7 kids. I don't have 7 kids, but you make those times. And one of the things I've noticed in the things that's propelled my business the most is that I take those moments that I have, and I realize that I need to cram in as much actionable but profitable types of tasks in those moments, because just the scrolling through, social media and doing all those things are big time wasters. And a lot of people don't realize how much that sucks out their time. So really making intentional moments, like you said, of the 15 and the 30 minutes that you have is really crucial to moving your business forward.
100%. And when you can be very intentional with your time, you can realize how much time that you'll actually have. But again, you have to be intentional. Again, you have to treat your business as a business. And that's something that it took me a while to learn, because again, this was the first time I'd ever done anything like this. I never had a desire to do anything like this. And so I really had to learn to take it from a hobby that will cost you money to a profession that will pay you professional income. I had to learn that pretty quick, again, because I didn't have a lot of time to just dabble around in it. But even as my life has become life, right? You have ups and downs, just like a heartbeat. There's been times I've had to put it to the side a little bit. And then there's been times I've been able to kind of work hardcore on it. But again, that's something that's so attractive to me about direct selling, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's been your biggest breakthrough in getting your business moving forward? So of those 15, 30 minute, 45 minute time frames that you've had, what would you say has been the biggest breakthrough in getting to move that business forward, right? Instead of just, so there's a lot of people that have really great intentions. And one of my favorite comments you've heard me say many times is like, messy action is better than no action at all. Like making something happen so that you're moving in a direction. So what's been the biggest breakthrough in getting to move your business forward? Because the podcast is about, roadmap to success. These entrepreneurs are trying to move from point A to point B. What was it for you?
Well, this might not be, I don't want to say the best answer, because it really is the best answer for me, but it's different. It might be different than what you're thinking, because I've been doing this for about 5 years now. And in all honesty, the thing that brought me past a roadblock that was kind of keeping me at a certain level of income, a certain level of commitment, a certain level of desire, I started to do some self-reflection, and I realized that I was actually kind of self-sabotaging myself. I would reach a level of success, and then these things would creep into my mind. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. What are you doing? Why do you think you can, become this person that you're trying to be? And I really had to step back, Shauna, and look at myself and realize I had some things in my life that I had not dealt with. I had some past trauma. I like to say I had a past life.
Yeah.
Although it was still here, I had a past life. And I had no intention of ever revisiting that, of ever digging deep into the depths of my soul and my heart and realizing I had some real trauma there that was stopping me. It was a roadblock. And when I finally opened myself up enough to realize, okay, Marcy, if you don't deal with this, you will constantly hit this wall. And I knew, for one, I didn't want to keep hitting that wall. I wanted to bust through that wall and keep going. So I really had to take some time and address some deep, dark pain. And so that's why I kind of preface this with, I don't know if this is the right answer, but I'm thinking there's probably some listeners who go, oh my gosh, that hit a pain point for me. And, we all have things happen. I'm not saying I'm any different, but the way I dealt with my trauma just hurt me in such a way that I just crushed it, forgot about it, tried to forget about it, right? Never really did. And it wasn't until I said, I'm going to deal with this and I'm going to grow through it and past it, that once I did that hard work, that's what launched my business and my career, and my entrepreneurial spirit just propelled it into a degree that I never would have been able to do if I hadn't looked back and went, okay, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to deal with it.
It's so funny that you said that, because I was listening to someone talk yesterday who is a really big entrepreneur. If I said his name, you probably know him, but he was addressing the fact that we are, kind of see our own worst things, meaning that people don't necessarily see. They see what we want to put on the outside, but we're the only creatures that do like self-reflection and look at ourselves from the inside out instead of the outside in. And it's really interesting how that, if we're talking about roadblocks and a roadmap to success and all of these things, that a lot of times we just would rather go around the big pile of rocks that landslid into the road instead, because it's uncomfortable. We'd rather avoid it than to be like, okay, I can get a bicycle on this road right now, but I need to bring a semi. And so I'm never going to be able to bring a semi down this road if I don't clear out the debris. And so I think so many times we get to a certain place and we're like, you know what? I'm just probably not have the material or the capability to be a 6 or 7 figure earner.
Mm-hmm.
I may never be that person that's going to do $10,000 in a month. That just might not be my thing. And so I think a lot of it is a mindset. We talk about mindset so much, and understanding where we need to go. So I think that's absolutely great and crucial that is, the question was, what's your biggest breakthrough? I mean, really the biggest breakthrough is us getting out of our own way most of the time. And when you do that, you're able to kind of, look at things in a very different light. And so it's almost like getting new glasses on. And I always tell people that if you're driving forward, the only place that you should be looking at your past is in the rearview mirror. You should be moving forward. And so no, that's really great. That's good stuff. So tell us, what business practice do you think has made the biggest impact in your business and why? Outside of your breakthrough, what is the business practice? I think I know what you're going to say already. But what is the biggest business practice that has made the biggest impact for your business, and why do you think it's such a big thing? And I'm guessing we're moving to that direction of what your niche is because it's something that you're so prolific in.
Yes. And I think your guess is spot on. But truly, the habit that I learned early on and really started to perfect was to plan my day the night before. And that has taken my days to be those productive days, to be able to find those, to find those 15, 30 minutes. And so What I do personally is I take my planner, and I usually do it in bed, right before I kind of end my day with kind of my night routine. And I look at my monthly calendar and I go, okay, what do I have planned for tomorrow? And sometimes there's things like kids' games or dentist appointments, or maybe right, or a training call, or maybe I scheduled a call with a prospect. And so those things are all kind of in my little square of my monthly planner of that day. And then what I do is I open up my daily schedule and I transfer those things that I have to do. Sometimes we don't want to do them, right? But those are things I have to do that day. And then I can very quickly see, okay, where are the spots that I can now do things I want to do? And those might not all necessarily be my business, right? I might go, okay, I want to work out today. When am I going to do that? Am I going to be able to do it in the morning like I want? Or, I really also plan like my dinner time. Like, when am I going to schedule my dinner time?
Right.
When my kids get home, I block off time to be present when they're there. And so I kind of do all of that to plan my day. And then I can see even better where are the spots that are open. And now I know, okay, I can fit in some of my most important tasks, my income producing activities. I want to do those first thing. What's the first time I have to do that? Okay, 10 o'clock. From 10 to 10:30, I can block that out of, I'm going to do my follow-up. So I'm going to do whatever. And then perhaps, okay, at 11, I have to go to the dentist appointment. And then maybe when I'm sitting at the dentist, I can do some lighter activities like, posting on social media, or maybe sending a couple messages, right? But
Right.
then I really block out again in my schedule, okay, I'm going to be home at 1 o'clock. All right, awesome. I've hopefully already ate, but if not, I'm going to block off lunchtime.
Gotta
Because
get food, girlfriend.
right? Because as a busy entrepreneur, there's times you are like, when am I going to eat? And if you don't block it off, right, you don't eat, or you end up eating like terrible things. You just shove them in your mouth because you're starving, right? So planning your day the night before also gives you the chance to kind of brain dump and get all those things off of your mind that sometimes can make you not sleep well, right? Because you're like, oh, what about this? What about that?
So true. Like, I know that
Right.
for me, it's like, if I've got something on my brain, it's so hard to like turn it off. And then like, we need sleep. We need to have rest. And, super important for us to be healthy, to sleep. So I agree.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's awesome. What your strongest suit is, probably my real vulnerability here, is probably one of my weakest links. And a long time ago, I won't say how long ago because it will date me and age me, but a long time ago, I worked for John Maxwell in Atlanta, Georgia, when he had started his doing his all of his writings and his business meetings and conferences all over the world. And one of the things that he taught us as his staff was that you should absolutely do the things that are in your wheelhouse, those things that you're really good at, that nobody else can do for you. But those things that you're not so great at, you should absolutely offload them off of your plate and get to be delegated so that you can spend your time in your genius zone. So I do try to implement some new techniques monthly to help get my my weakest link stronger. But it's really important for all of us to have strengths and weaknesses to help balance us out, and that way we all get a chance to play at the table, right?
Yes, 100%.
So, well, we are so glad that you joined us for our podcast. We are thanking Marcy.
All right. Throw a C in there.
Close it. I was like totally brain slip. Marcy, for joining us today as our guest. We hope that you will tune in again soon. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, do so wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on our YouTube channel. We'll be talking to you soon. Bye, friends.
Bye.